Meeting to order. First item or second item is to the public comment. The commission takes public comment on issues and concerns not on the regular agenda at this time. A public comment form must be submitted to the commission liaison prior to the time the meeting is scheduled to begin. Public input on a regular agenda item will be taken at its appropriate discussion. Citizens should speak from the podium, address all comments to the dais, begin by stating their name and address or single member district number, and limit their remarks to less than 3 minutes. Okay? Any public comment we need to start with, or is that just?
We have some introductions.
All right, introductions. Bill, James, Don?
First of all, let me just say Bill Kitch is now on the board. He's the mayor's appointment. It took 8 years to finally fill that position, but it was filled in record time. The story is, after church on Sunday, after services, we were talking about the RFQ that's on the agenda. And he said he's interested in helping with that process because he's got experience with it. He was the department head of the engineering department at ASU, and still with the department, but teaching now mostly. So I said, there's a vacancy on the board. Actually, the mayor's position is vacant. So he called Tom that afternoon. And the next day, I know it's on, when we have staff meeting at 1:30, the next day, he's on the agenda to be appointed.
Perfect.
That's the quickest I've ever seen that happen.
Yeah.
And so at the next meeting, he got appointed. And he's here. I'm glad to have him.
We're happy to have you. Thank you.
Yes, push the button until it turns green.
Everything has to be on the record.
Oh, yes, this is filmed.
I'm really excited about it. I love San Angelo, and the parks are like the key part of what makes life good here, and so I'm happy to be part of this. I'm an engineer. I was a practicing engineer for 20 years, and now I've finished up 20 years of being in academia, so I've done lots of work with design contracts and build contracts and all kinds of things. I'm certainly excited to be part of. Hope I have something valuable to add to the board.
You got it. We're happy to have you. Thank you, Bill.
Next is James Robinson. He's on the Santa Fe Park Commission, and he's the liaison. He took Allison's place since she had to step away because she is moving out of town. So
Happy to have you, yeah. It's exciting. Thank you, guys.
And then Dawn Pierce is taking Barbara's place. Barbara got promoted to be deputy city clerk, and Dawn got promoted to her position. Administrative assistant senior.
All right.
But not senior in age, but senior in position.
Only in title, right? Cool. All right. And there's Emily Jane. Everybody else, Mario, Marcus, everybody got promoted?
Yes, I mean, we did announce it.
That's right.
before,
I guess we did, yeah.
Promotions. Mario.
I was just fired up when I saw it on the Facebook post. That's
Okay.
probably it. Nice. All right. Well, cool, guys. Sorry, we're just making introductions. Bill, James, Don. They're all new to the board. All right. Well, I'm excited. Next agenda item?
The consent agenda.
Consent agenda. Consider approving the August 6, 2025 meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion and a second once everybody's had a chance to read over them.
And the new members may want to abstain from voting
Sure.
because they weren't here.
Sure. Sounds good.
I'll make the motion that the minutes.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right. Rocking and rolling. Item number 3, regular agenda, public hearing and comment. We'll move to the first bullet point, consider renewing the agreement with San Angelo International Water Lily Collection LLC and recommend any related matters.
So this is a little early, since the agreement doesn't expire until March 31, 2026, but we figured we want to go ahead and get this going and get it in the hopper. So it's in place by next spring. So as you may recall, the agreement began April 1, 2023. It does expire March 31, 2026. We work with Chase Tombly, who's working through his LLC, the San Angelo International Water Lily Collection. He provides all the work related to operation of the collection, maintenance of the collection, in terms of all the aquatics, all the plants. The city provides the water for the basins and the collection, and then the city provides 2 greenhouses, actually 1 greenhouse and a hot old house that's used to grow the lilies. I don't think he's using the hot house now, but he can come up and talk about it when he speaks. The city does help on an annual basis with the clean out. It's about every February that we do that. And then if there are significant maintenance matters with the greenhouses and the basins, then the city has to address those. We're kind of like the landlord, so we have to keep those up. The last agreement was a 3-year agreement. Is that right? And it was basically a 1-year agreement with 2 1-year options to renew. And so we're on the 3rd year. I think I would recommend going with a little bit longer agreement for our benefit and for his benefit, looking more like at a 3-year agreement with at least one option to renew for 1 or 2 years. That's my recommendation. And Chase is here, and he may want to speak to it, and y'all may have questions. It's been a great transition with him. I mean, to be honest, I haven't had to worry much about the collection. We did get a few questions this summer because Chase does have a different philosophy in growing the lilies. Ken was more focused on just the blooms, basically the flowers. He kept a lot of the vegetation down, and he was really just focused on just displaying the flowers. Chase is more into the entire ecology of the collection and the basins, so you'll see more vegetation down there than we have in the past. But I think he's doing a great job, and I recommend it continues. Mario may have some comments too, but
No, I agree with everything Carl stated. He's been great to work with, and he is extremely knowledgeable, and it's been a good partnership.
How long have you been managing Chase?
we're being recorded, so come on up to the mic, please.
Oh, sorry.
I want him to speak.
How long have you been helping with the water lily collection?
About 20 years.
20 years? All right, well, good.
Started in 2004.
Awesome. Very cool.
As far as ecology is concerned, well, I used to work for a guy named Neil Ayler, and I've worked on some of the largest ranches you can imagine. I've been on the Rust Ranch, I've been on the Sug Ranch. I mean, when you talk about ecology,
Since birth.
how far down that rabbit hole do you want to go?
That's good. Very good.
So I have a question about future plans. So do you have, and I don't know what everybody's role is in this for improvements or changes or, I mean, what?
So,
I love the gardens. They've been, one of the first things I visited when I moved out here 10 years ago, but I'm wondering if,
okay, so
do you have
ecology-
ideas about improvements and how that works,
Let-
because you're getting hired to maintain.
Let me
You're
give some
basically getting
backstory. Okay, so Ken Landon had the collection for
Right.
years. It started in the 80s. And we helped him expand that collection with additional basins. He was an interesting guy.
So I hear.
It was, for me personally, it was a love-hate relationship because I loved what he did, what he produced. Everybody loved it. I mean, it put us on the map in terms of water lilies. But he was difficult to work with. And we discovered after he passed that he was not good at keeping records. We thought he was, but it wasn't really our position to check on that. And so there really were poor records, and the collection was kept poorly. But it got even worse when Larry Jolly took over, who also passed recently. Larry was not, he had no skill in horticulture, aquatics, or anything, and he just kept it going. Larry was executor of Ken's will, and Larry had helped Ken. I gave him a title of like an agent. He kind of spoke for Ken for Ken's behalf when working with the city. But Larry had no experience with horticulture, and when he had in the interim between Ken and Chase, he had the collection and he had some helpers work the collection. It became even worse. We basically lost anything that Ken had produced, and so we had to basically resurrect using what we had left, plus getting lilies from elsewhere. A difference between Ken and Chase is Ken was into the hybridization, producing hybrids. Chase can do that now. He's able to do that, but he doesn't have the experience that Ken had in doing the hybridization. He can grow the heck out of the lilies. I mean, it looks awesome down there. That's kind of the backstory from my position.
But I'm just wondering what your dreams are to improve the place and.
Well, from an ecology standpoint, I can't draw any more water. I mean, we currently have, give or take, about 300,000 gallons that we have occupied. So I cannot see expanding the footprint without, I mean, we do live in a semi-arid dry desert. So as far as expanding the footprint, that would be impossible. I mean, it would just take more of a water draw. As far as facilitating any kind of comforts or conveniences around the park or around the display, that could very easily be looked at. I mean, you consider sun sails, you consider anything that could make visiting the park more comfortable for tourists. That honestly would be the direction that I would look at, but that falls under
Right.
parks.
Because that's not, the scope of your work is to maintain the
Right.
current collection.
I can acquire just about anything you want me to acquire. Species are a little bit more difficult than hybrids, but not that difficult. I mean, they're just fussier.
Did you ever have any plans to expand down that lagoon down there?
You mean the water runoff, like taking it all the way back to the dam, the 100-year-old dam?
Yeah, the old CCC lagoon thing they had.
It's not really possible at this point. That the dam has failed and the lagoon has to be completely redone. It's not really possible at this point, but.
I mean, most of that park you have to consider is dating back to,
The CCC.
Yep.
I mean, it's very historic. It's cool that it's historic, but it's got some age. But once again, that's, where would be the need? Because, I mean, if you consider the cypresses, okay, if you just consider it from how the entire system works, what would be you could, I mean, there could be you could create a walk path, and actually it would possibly help, considering the Central High School kids trash that area regularly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could look at it from that aspect. I mean, it serves its utilitarian purpose, but you could look at it from an aspect of how do you beautify it and essentially stop or mitigate some of that trashing.
Yeah, one reason I'm asking, because we're about to let a contract to do a master plan for the park system, right? And this is a key part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious about your thoughts and ability to input on that larger process. Anyway,
I don't know that I have any. I mean, at the end of the day, it's whatever y'all want. I worked for Ken for 20 years, and I catered to what he needed and did what he needed. As far as the science is concerned, I can show you the sciences, I can show you the ecology of it. As far as a vision for the park itself, that falls to y'all.
Okay, thank you.
So I have written the caption to take action about renewing the agreement.
Okay.
In terms of the length, again, 3 years at least, with maybe some options to renew this RFQ process. It's going to take a year to get through that, and then whatever we do, it's going to take money, which we currently don't have, and it's going to take a while to raise the funds for that. Part of this that we've talked about and we'll discuss again is the possibility of that park becoming an official botanical garden and perhaps connecting to or spilling over into Santa Fe Park. And so it's possible to see what direction goes with this RFQ and the whole discussion of that. But it's still at the dream stage right now. So I don't think much is going to happen within 3 years, other than just a plan.
Is anybody opposed to a 3-year agreement? Go ahead. Yeah, please. Okay.
Okay. Then I'll make the motion to accept the 3-year agreement with the option for 2 additional years. For,
Any other discussion or input? Anybody?
So the terms of this are essentially the same as the current one?
Yes, thank you. It's basically the same terms. There's an annual amount that gets paid to his LLC, and it's broken out by month, and it does have an escalator of 2.5% each year.
Okay.
and can we get the update on the Lily Fest?
Is your mic on? I can't hear her.
The Lily Fest?
Yeah,
Update.
that's the next item.
That's the next item, okay.
All right. With no other discussion, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Move on down to item number 3, here an update on the upcoming September 20th and 21st annual Lily Fest.
I don't think I have any slides on this, really just a discussion. 21st annual event. We started it, obviously 21 years ago with Ken Landon, and there wasn't such an event before, and we wanted to highlight the collection and the work that Ken was doing, so we started that event. The city started out hosting that event, organizing and hosting it, and then we passed it off to, I think, the Garden Club, and then now Chase has inherited it as part of his operations, at least organizing it. He still works with us, and we're a co-sponsor for the event, and we help provide different things for it. Anything you want to speak about the event?
What would you like to know?
It's on September 20th.
It is on September 20th. It runs from 9 a.m. till noon. I keep the original time frame as well as date on the map. I mean, the only thing that I've done different that Ken didn't do, I provide a little, and I guess I provide a little bit more activities for everyday folk to come and enjoy, whereas Ken focused very heavily on displaying the hybrids that he created. I am capable of doing that, but as far as the event itself is concerned, I tend to look at it more like an annual day to come to the park and enjoy the park. I mean, at the end of the day, how do you get the civilians involved, right? How do you get everyday people to come down there? Yes, it's wonderful that we can hybridize flowers. Great. How do you get people to enjoy it? So that's kind of the direction that I went.
So when it comes to Lily Fest, what are some of the key things people look forward to each year just based on your time running it?
I make it a lot more family friendly. So I get like Angelo inflatables. I have a DJ that I have come down. If you think about it, like most schools put on a fall festival, right? Kind of the same concept, right? So you're going to have enjoyable activities, you're going to have entertainment, you're going to have arts and crafts, things to do. The flowers are more of an ambiance. I mean, we can display them, and we do display them, and we show them off what we can do. This year, I've worked for the last couple years, so one of the things that Ken hybridized was a gigantea called Blue Cloud, and one of the things that I've done is, as part of the work that I did down there, because Ken traded with a whole bunch of parks throughout the world, was to get essentially the entire collection at this point is no longer a hodgepodge of this person owns this, or this person owns that, or this goes over here, this goes over there. No, no, no. Everything down there at the park at this point belongs to that park. Everybody has had an opportunity to come claim whatever they're going to claim. At this point, there's nothing left to claim. So I used some of that vacant space to create, as far as I'm under the understanding, the only display outside of Australia that is an entire pool dedicated to Australian giganteas, which was one of Ken Landon's big works, Blue Cloud. So we have the only display of giganteas outside of an entire continent. But we do display that, but how do you get people down there to come and enjoy it? So I guess I do both.
So like with that area, you know, it's Australian. Is there any way like to theme it that way? Like if, I know there's petting zoos that have kangaroos.
Sure. You can, and that would come down to funding. If you wanted to theme Lily Fest certain cultural significance, right? As it stands right now, I'm already investing multiple $1,000s into Lily Fest out of the contract. And so, if you wanted to, you could. We could be absolutely themed Australian to celebrate the giganteas. I have one flower that is from Zanzibar. I mean, you could theoretically every year, every Lily Fest, host a different theme highlighting a different culture and then displaying a variety from that culture. That, once again, I mean, acquiring the botanical matter is, I mean, some of it's challenging, some of it's not. But the display itself, it just come down to funding.
Do we get any corporate sponsorship for this at all? Have we worked on that? And I don't know who would do that. I'm just asking, I'm the new guy, I don't know anything yet.
It could be done. It would depend on who you reached out to. So this is when it comes to the sciences, that's dealing with that kind of corporate sponsorship, that wasn't really in my forte.
No, that's fine. I'm just asking.
It could be done. I'm not sure who you would reach out to. And then of course, you know, it would.
You're talking about how to get more people involved. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, could have, AEP sponsor the DJ or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I don't know how it runs.
So I think with our question, it's not about like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, all right, where are some areas where in the future we know that we, as a team over here, where are some stuff
Right.
that we know that we can help?
Well, there are. So if you get a hold of the International Water Gardening Society, right? So Ken Landon was a founding member of the IWGS. If that still means anything to them, then you could, in theory, network with the IWGS, and of course they have connections worldwide. We used to have people come in from Japan, we've had people come in from Germany, we've had people come in from worldwide, so I would think that would be probably one of the absolute best places to start if you were looking for some sort of corporate sponsorship outside of local. You could do local. We did try to reach out to HEB to look at, because Ken used HEB as a corporate sponsor for some years, but we were told because we are a nonprofit, we're ineligible for any kind of sponsorship. So there are, I guess, local opportunities, but I think if you're trying to highlight different cultures and stuff like that, I mean, really, it just depends on where y'all would like to take it.
Yeah, we've done that in the past. We worked with local businesses, and we worked with the Master Gardeners, and of course the Garden Club. It's always been kind of more of a not. We didn't hype it a lot. It was more kind of an intimate event where we'd have music, and the music would change every year. It was just time to get down there and socialize and see the lilies. I mean, on the contrary, like the Riverfest that's coming back up, mostly organized by Civic Events and Sid Walker. Recreation's got a part of it too, but it's mostly Civic Events. They've gone out and gotten a lot of sponsorships for that event to help cover the cost. We haven't done that much for this event the last few years. I suppose we could do it a little bit more than we have been. Maybe that's something we can work with Recreation to do a little bit more of next year to get more involvement.
How many folks do you usually have come to it, like from, I guess, the 9 to 12?
How many, just head count?
Yeah. I mean, is it hundreds, is it 1,000?
Oh, definitely in the hundreds. Last year, if I was to guess, see, the problem is I don't have a head count meter. If you wanted to put that, I mean, okay, well, that would give this year as a good opportunity to collect that data if you wanted it. So if the parks wanted to provide a head count, I don't know what you call that little device, but if y'all wanted to collect a head count, if I was to guesstimate, I want to say last year we probably saw at least 300.
Oh, good.
So, I mean, albeit we also gave away a tremendous amount of arts and crafts. I mean, truly an impressive amount.
Good deal.
Now, albeit if you were to, you were talking about local sponsorships. Hobby Lobby, Michael's, that's one of the places we source a lot of the arts and crafts that we foot the bill for. If they wanted to get involved, because a lot of the stuff that we purchase on clearance, it's last season's whatever, but it's still good stuff. And so we get a hold of that stuff and we just buy it in bulk and then we just provide. So if you wanted corporate sponsorship, that would be something. And I reached out to them. It was unsuccessful. But if they wanted to provide if they had stock that they were just looking to move, this is a good opportunity to do so, especially when you consider it's giving back to the community. We've tried reaching out to several of the local places here. We've tried reaching out to the IWGS. We've tried reaching out unsuccessfully. So
Effort's been made.
effort has been made. I can't force them.
Yes, sir. Good. Well, good.
Where, just out of curiosity, where in the scope of work is hosting, and this is a great thing, right? Are you doing that just because is that in the scope of work for the
his
for the
agreement?
contract? Because you're spending some of the contract money to support this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not objecting to it, but I don't necessarily see it in the scope of work here at all.
Coordination of the event is not in that agreement. He's just taking it on.
Should it be?
I have to think about that.
I mean, it seems to me to be really, really important.
The Lily
I mean,
Pond's a good
nobody,
part-
a long time ago, nobody is concerned about the terms of agreement, the scope or terms of agreements of the contract until there's a dispute, but.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
everything's working, so I don't
you
want to
have-
break anything, but it sounds like he's doing a really important job that we want him to do, and it's not in his contract.
you have a good point. I mean, it just kind of evolved that way. City started and just
Yeah,
got passed down and down, and then
I just think we ought to, we're already paying for it, we ought to say, support in hosting events at I don't know what the right, I'm not gonna try and wordsmith something now, but.
Chase, are you open to that?
Sure.
Okay.
If
I mean,
y'all-
you're gonna see the language, whatever we come up with, and you're gonna have to be okay with whatever's in the agreement.
So, if you rewind the time clock a few years when Larry first got a hold of the contract, do y'all remember the hot air balloons by any chance? Does anybody here at San Angelo native,
Yeah.
we don't do that anymore. Nobody does anything anymore, ever. And if you reach out to them, they stonewall and gray rock the hell out of you. Okay, well, I can do what I can do. So, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say, and I don't mean to be rude, but I guess it must be said, some people, if they genuinely care, need to put their money where their mouth is.
I can add some text in there that addresses that in the next agreement.
Yeah, it seems like it's really important. If we want, this is like a gym, right? We want more people to come. We want it to have a bigger impact on the city and who we are. And
There are
we
people,
got somebody who's working on it, and it's not even in his contract.
people come from out of town, they stay
Yeah,
in
of course.
hotels. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
We've hosted the International
Yeah.
Water League.
I mean, the main reason why, I ask the questions I do is I was at Angry Cactus and had someone, I was talking to, and they were here for the lilies. It's just, I've experienced just meeting new people who are here for the lilies.
Right.
So,
I don't know if it helps, Shelly. We do have a Facebook page that we were able to successfully salvage. I also salvaged the website. So we salvaged Ken Landon's website. We also salvaged the Facebook page. In the time that I've had the contract, we've doubled our numbers. We went from about 2,400 followers to last night we hit 5,100 followers. So we've doubled the amount of people that are following the Facebook page. We did successfully save all the data that Ken had posted to the website, which a lot of it is very scientific, but we were able to successfully save all that. And I maintain the internet, I maintain all of that. Like, that's kind of when I stepped. When Ken died, I had to fill his role under Larry. Larry, the amount of carnage was impressive. The man would have been more successful if he had just left it alone. I mean, it truly was impressive. I have photos. It was impressive. So after that incident, then I had to re-step back in, and in the 3 years that I've had that, because we are on the third year, in that time period, I have propagated, I have hybridized, I have grown, I have basically tried to fill it back in. So that's more or less what I mean. It's kind of like, so I did 15 years on a volunteer fire department. It's kind of like putting out an enormous grass fire, right? Where do you start? You just start hitting hot spots, and as time progresses, you hope you make progress.
Good deal.
Do you make any money from doing this?
Well, I mean, I give myself a salary.
So if we were to say who monetizes the most from the Lilies in San Angelo, who would that be?
Who makes the most off of it?
Yeah.
Indirectly, the city, I would think. The city overall, the city government. Are you looking at one person or?
No, I mean, like, so it does fall more on the city. The city of San Angelo is recognized for it more versus an individual.
Well, yeah, I mean,
or-
you'll see Lilies in the collection advertised in all of the cities, well, it's the chamber and destination marketing organizations. All their marketing usually has water lilies on it and water lily collection, and other people use it as well to promote San Angelo. And it's one of the top 5 or 10, and well, probably top 5 in TripAdvisor and all those different platforms for visitors.
Would you say that we're proportionally giving back what you're getting? So is the
I would
city of
think
San
so.
Angelo investing enough into this, what they're using to bring money back into the city?
Yeah, I would think so, but I can't put a figure on what that figure would be.
True. I do see marketing things here and there, like at the airport. I remember seeing something recently. But when it comes to actually knowing about the event happening, I would say, just from my own personal perspective, it's not being put out enough. I think if it's being showcased the way that it is and the work that goes into it, I would feel like it would be pretty easy to market something like that. More heavily.
Well, we can put it out through our channels, mostly social media, but in terms of marketing outside of the city, we don't have the budget for that. That's
Not
destination
outside of the
marketing
city, but there's a
organization.
huge reach just within West Texas alone.
Right, like for example, with our programming, I mean, I have the capability of sending out the info out to our participants and programs for events like that, I mean, I know last year for a fact I didn't put anything out for Lily Fest. You know, it's just, whereas I have the means to reach out to hundreds, if not a couple thousand people.
That's all sports with.
The chamber does. The chamber promotes it,
They do.
yeah.
I mean, this is one of the reasons I was asking the question about the contract. So who's responsible for, so we have a contractor who's responsible for essentially providing the lilies and all the work that goes with coordinating with the city to improvements and what's in here. But you know, again, this is the new guy question. I don't know you know,
Sure.
I mean, who markets? You know, who's responsible for promoting the Lily Garden?
Well,
That's
I
not
mean,
what this contract's for, right?
This is an operational agreement. That's primarily our role is
Right.
to operate and maintain
Right.
the collection through this agreement, through Chase. As far as promoting it, I see that more as the DMO, the Destination Marketing Organization,
Okay.
in the chamber.
But there's nothing written in place that says this is what will be done and who's going to do it.
In terms of marketing,
Helping with this. Because the other part is if the city is going to be putting money into something like this, you think they'd want to maximize it. Whether it's City of San Angelo or the chamber, or whoever. Just seems like maybe we could create a better organization and coordination of going off of what he brought up. This is what we would like done. Now who's going to be responsible for it?
in terms of promoting it.
Promoting,
Marketing.
yes.
I think that's outside of our role.
But how do we engage in that? Because, I mean, I want to improve the city parks, and we're gonna let a plan here to get, some technical help about where we're supposed to go, but that didn't come with any money. So if we're gonna go, if we're gonna go to whether we're gonna go to the city or whether we're gonna go for philanthropic support to do this, the question is, well, we got to make the case that this is worth the investment for the city. So, I mean, what's our role on the board to engage in that process to help improve the parks? Again, I'm a new guy just asking questions, right?
I mean, I know the Parks Department isn't responsible for the marketing, but it's still a park in San Angelo. So there is, I would think, the responsibility behind it to make sure that it's successful and that it is showcased to the best of its ability.
Yeah, I don't have good answers for that. I think we maybe need to have a separate discussion item about this, and just in general, how do we promote what we do without a marketing budget? I mean, we can coordinate and communicate with others, the DMO, to let them know what's going on, what we have, but we're not budgeted to promote.
Yeah, we got to figure out how we connect with the other pieces.
But like I said, I mean, I can see where we play a role in coordinating and communicating. What are you thinking?
I'm just saying, if we have a park that can be utilized outside of just a playground, I think that is something maybe for further discussion that should really be talked about, is how can we better coordinate with these other departments to showcase what San Angelo has to offer.
Well, and so I don't know the answer to this, maybe DJ, you know, what role does this board have in the budget building process for the city?
None.
Just creative thinking. I understand Mr. Fluger acquired the cactus. If you go inside that building, there's some blue flowers in their stained glass. And if you look at some of the historical data that still exists regarding the parks as well as Nymphaea elegans, I guess San Angelo historically was a farming / ranching town, right? Theoretically. Ken Landon's family was big into wool and mohair. The Landon name was actually synonymous with wool and mohair. So I guess my question, or my creative thinking about the process, if you consider Civic League Park and how those lands originally came to be, right? Well, I guess what I don't understand is how come the ranchers in this area, will they benefit from it? And don't get me wrong, I very much like going out into the sticks and destroying stuff. I mean, every guy does. But if they live here and they benefit from it, why wouldn't they want to be involved? Just a thought. I mean, yes, you could go within city budget, that's true, but you could do both. I mean, if you consider that ranching is, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is approach it from a historic aspect. I mean, just a thought.
And going back kind of what you're talking about, we could have a separate discussion item about this, and we can invite Jeremy Bartz with the DMO to come talk with us and just start brainstorming how can they help us promote more.
Well, there's an article in Texas Highways in July.
Yeah,
about it.
they do put
So
stuff out,
They do promote that.
and they have a
The
budget for
chamber-
that. We don't.
I mean, I think all of this just kind of points to the need for, like, that general discussion on what's important, what are our priorities, what do we want to promote, where do we need, I mean, obviously, we know we need funding for lots of projects and any creative ideas that come about, but it, like, how important in the grand scheme of things is this Lily Fest? And maybe we decide that it's top 1, 2, or 3 on our list, and that's something we really need to work on. But I think I find it hard for me to think about just this without the broader context. So
There's a lot.
maybe it's like a general marketing and some of the events that happen at all of our parks that we could, kind of have that discussion around.
I was gonna suggest maybe you have that River Fest in conjunction with the Lily Fest and promote them both.
We had that in the past. That's how it started out. But for next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing to decide here or recommend. It was really just an update.
Thank you, Chase. Item number 4, hear an update on the upcoming process to create a River Parks Master Plan, select a representative to serve on the RFQ Submissions Review Committee, and recommend any related matters.
And we talked about this last month, so we've already selected the representative, that's Heather. So disregard that part of it. We've already talked about this, and really the only update on it is the schedule. We did have a number of questions come in, so we did an addendum. One of the requests at the time was for additional time for submitters to have time to submit, primarily because of the transition between summer and school and getting people to give them the information. So we said, sure, we'll give you a couple more weeks. So the deadline has now moved instead from the end of August to September 11, which is coming up. So I've already sent out an email to the committee giving them a heads up that, hey, this is coming. We're scheduled to receive them on September 11. So between September 11 and September 25, hopefully closer to September 11, we'll need the committee members to receive the submissions, and it'll all be through the platform Bonfire. It'll all be online. Read those submissions and then score those so we can collect the scores and come up with at least 3, not more than 4 firms that we want to invite here to give a presentation to us. And tentatively, that presentation date is September 25. So that our group can make a recommendation to council hopefully in October. And it's more likely services will begin in November. And this process will take basically a whole year, I would think, to go through developing the River Parks Master Plan. That's the update.
All right.
Nothing else has changed on that.
Questions or comments?
I've given this presentation. We have 3 boards now, and they're all meeting regularly now.
Good.
It's good, but it seems to be all I'm doing now is organizing board meetings and committee meetings. So I kind of forget who I've said to what.
It's all right. Thanks for your help on it all, Carl.
Thank you.
We'll move on down to item 5, hear and discuss updates on key activities, projects, programs, and events from Parks and Recreation Division.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So I don't have a whole lot to go over this month. I will make my monthly plea to the public for open positions that the Parks Department does have. I think our discussion was not in vain last month. Since then, the Public Information Office did put out a promotion for the Parks Department, and we also held a job fair that we were involved in. So as of yesterday, we were 9 positions short. As of this morning, we're back up to 10. So that's just the way it goes. And I think that's citywide. I think that's pretty much every organization, even outside the city right now. It's just hard to get people to apply, hard to get people to come in and want to do the work that we do. So we are getting prepped up for Riverfest and Lilyfest. Coming up on the 20th is Lilyfest, and the 27th is Riverfest. So we're working in preparation for those events, and pretty much just business as usual. We're just getting ready for the fall season, getting into some tree work, and get back to some stump grinding, and finishing up hopefully with the mowing season within the next couple of months. So, you guys got any questions for me?
What, were we gonna like get some of those old trees for the natural playground stuff at some point in time?
We've got plenty.
Y'all
We
just-
still got them.
Still got them? All right,
Yeah,
just making
still
sure,
got
just
'em.
making, just touching base.
Yeah, that's for the next one. Hopefully Santa Rita.
Thank you.
Sure.
Question. So we do want to get back to Santa Rita Park, but I know you're waiting to finish the storage building at the sports complex as well as the foundation for the pavilion at the playground
Yes.
at the sports complex. So
So kind of
update
having
on
to
that?
juggle those projects kind of at the same time. There is a contractor that's going to come in and do the work for the shade structure, but we are responsible for the foundation, which is a pretty extensive work now that we're seeing the plans. It was a little more extensive than what we thought, so we're short-staffed on that end. So we are still working on the storage building and trying to get some help from other departments on drilling down for these anchor footings for this shade structure. And so once we button that down, we'll hop over to the shade structure, get that knocked out, and then hop back to the storage building, and then hopefully button that up within hopefully the next few months, and be ready to transition to Santa Rita Park. It's a lot, so we're trying to juggle it all.
Thank you, Mario.
All right, in the recreation world, we just wrapped up the municipal pool, so that's closed for the season. We have our preseason flag football tournament going on this weekend. We had 47 teams sign up. And then the week after that is the kickoff for our fall football season, flag football season, which we have I believe 112 teams is where we wrapped up. Ended up being a bit of an increase from the year before. So Sean Fields is doing a real good job orchestrating that and running those. We've been in talks with other groups for some tournaments coming up at the sports complex. So we already have a few lined up for this year, and then, even next year for Memorial Day weekend, we're already booked. So we're starting to get some inquiries from some bigger tournaments and trying to put some synergy behind some of them instead of doing several tiny tournaments. Putting some focus on trying to bring in some big tournaments, because again, kind of like we were talking about Lilyfest with, people coming into town and now the area is, all right, what can we do, and our role in terms of helping with hotel occupancy or getting people at restaurants, things like that with the events and activities that we have going on.
did we, in fact, get the state flag football tournament?
I will get finalized confirmation, but it's about like 80% certain we'll get that. The site that was supposed to host the state tournament for flag football isn't able to do it this year, so we were asked. We had a tournament scheduled already for that weekend, but luckily the person running it is also involved in TAF, so he was okay with giving up that weekend. So we're able to get that going, but we're waiting for I gotta get the final confirmation email on it. but it's looking pretty certain. So just so y'all are aware, we're part of TAF, Texas Amateur Athletic Federation, for most of our youth sports programs. And with hosting state, that means that people who have TAF programs around the state of Texas can come out and compete in this tournament, which means, if they're in the tournament, that there's a good chance that they're going to be staying in San Angelo, going to eat at a restaurant that they've never been to before, and things like that. So that's one area that we can kind of promote better. One thing we're trying to do with TAF is really push that if we're hosting something, being able to get the word out to other communities. And yes, we have a light budget, but my phone bill doesn't go up by making an extra call to a recreation director in another city, trying to get him to get teams out here. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse.
What's you have any update on the splash pads, their operation?
Yes, so it's going a lot better. Kinks, we've been getting less phone calls about Kirby. October 15th is when we're looking to close both of them for the season. We want to wrap up with one last bash, so we're looking at on the week. So the 15th falls on a Wednesday, so the plan would be on a weekend, do a event at one of them, and then on that last day during the week, just kind of like people are looking for something to do after school, will be our event at the other one.
And he's still short-staffed too. He's, instead of filling holes, he's been promoting some folks in-house, so it hasn't added new folks to his staff yet. It's going to take a few more months.
Yeah, but, and then on the splash pad, foot traffic's been pretty light during the week. So basically the first part of the morning at Unidad, we might have a couple of kids there, toddler age, and then it's dead. And then after school, we'll get people. And then at Kirby, it's mostly if people have a soccer or football practice, little brother, little sister are out there playing at Kirby.
Sound good? All right. Move on to item number 6, consider future agenda items.
Well, the next meeting is October 1, Wednesday. I caught 2 possible future agenda items. We talk about promotions and marketing for basically events and activities. And maybe get the DMO to come help speak on that and brainstorm. And then, Emily Jane, you were talking about like priorities. I remember a few months ago I had a list of these are all the things that I'm going to be focusing on. It's changed a little bit because we've added some more things. It was mostly project related, but I could maybe update that with some other things that we've talked about and bring that back and talk about that. Here's what's on our collective plate, and here's how it stacks in terms of what to address and how to address it and the time frame.
And sorry, it kind of went over my head a little bit earlier when Carl said introductions. I figured we would probably all introduce ourselves to the new guys
Yeah, that's right.
on the board too. Sorry, when I come in, I'm usually like, okay, let's go call order, let's do public comment, let's do consent agenda. So we'll just do kind of your name, a little bit about yourself and why you joined the board. I'll kick us off just real quick. My name's DJ Wilde. I work for UBS Financial Services as a financial advisor here in town. Was born and raised in Wall pretty much my whole life and migrated the 12 miles west to San Angelo not too long ago. But Carl, why I joined, Carl and Roger Havlock actually recruited me on. They helped us out with our Kiwanis Club. We celebrated 100 years. They helped us with the pecan tree plant. They helped us with a rock and a plaque and all that stuff. So happy to be here and happy to have you guys on the committee.
Well, you're also the president of the San Angelo Parks
That's right.
Foundation.
That's right. So yeah, Emily Jane and I and Alicia and Javier, we all are a part of the San Angelo Parks Foundation. America's greatest idea. That's actually the national park slogan. We just kind of stole it, but little fun fact.
My name is Emily Jane Cowan, and I guess I've been on, almost 2 years, maybe, or just did 2 years, and I was recruited by Karen Hesse-Smith, and the fact that Carl's on Madison Street. It's a great street in town. And I am a former public-private school educator, and I currently homeschool my children. And we are pretty passionate about nature, pretty passionate about our parks, and all of the opportunities that this area provides for nature experiences.
I'm Ben Bruchkowski. I am a faculty member at Angelo State University, and San Angelo is now it's the city I've lived in the second longest after bouncing around for quite a while. So once I kind of realized this was going to be home, I was looking for things to get involved in, and the Parks and Rec Board definitely overlaps with a lot of my interests, and been on here for roughly a year and a half, I think, and glad to have you on board.
Heather Hegwood. I am fourth generation San Angeloan, and I'm a landscape designer, have been for about 30 years, landscape designer and project coordinator. Also have a background in environmental and wildlife education. And I was also recruited by Karen Hesse Smith, but not appointed by Karen, to become involved in this. And it's the parks and outdoor education are important to me because of landscaping and because of the environmental education background.
Alicia Olshansky. I was recruited a couple years ago by Carl when I actually approached him about building splash pads in San Angelo. And lived in San Angelo for the past 13 years now. Before that was from Wisconsin. So very big into nature, parks, trails, all the outdoor stuff.
Well, I guess I need to add to my introduction. So, I guess I'm so far the only person that recruited myself to this board. And so I live in Santa Rita, just like 3 blocks from the river, and so I walk in the park all the time. And I start back through the Sunken Gardens, and that's like the first place I hit. And then I usually walk to church on Sunday through the parks because it's just a good way to get some exercise. And I don't know, at one time I forgot who I was talking to, but I said, that's like Central Park. And I realize there's a whole bunch of parks there, but if you really put it all together, that's like San Angelo Central Park, and I don't think we really make the best use of it. And then some time ago, some of the Santa Fe board members contacted me as the civil engineering or the engineering chair at Angelo State about potentially helping with some planning and stuff. And so anyway, I found out a little more about the parks. And I said, yeah, and the fact that they were thinking about developing a master plan to understand the future use of these. And I love planning because it's like where the big decisions get made. And I just felt like I had the ability to actually help move that ahead. I'm on the facility side of the world, the building infrastructure part of the thing, not in the programs part, but I'm really excited about what's possible because to me it's an amazing, I can envision some amazing stuff. Getting it done is going to be a bigger chore, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. I'm really excited about what's possible.
Progress.
I'm James Robinson. I'm about a 42-year veteran of San Angelo. My background is architecture, and I'm in the Santa Rita area, and I'm probably the single largest patron of the Civic League Park and the Riverwalk. I go there daily walking my dogs, and have for the past 40 years. So I'm also somewhat an advocate for the Santa Fe Golf Course, though that has to be I know the studies will have to be conducted to determine whether it's going to be financially feasible to restore it. But I don't know exactly who appointed me, but I'm on the Santa Fe board, and I believe Bitsy.
Yeah, because the Park Commission is unique. They can self-nominate. Council still has to appoint, but they can self-nominate. So I think it was Bitsy and Heidi both.
Yeah, either one or both.
Yeah.
I don't know, but That's my background.
I have a future agenda item. Several months ago, I brought up the idea of adopt a park, and I would still like to discuss that.
We did, yeah, you did. I don't know.
Yeah, and then you put it back.
Just
And now I'm here to remind
reminded me.
you.
Okay, it's on here.
It does exist, right?
Is what?
The adopt a park, it does exist, right?
Yeah, it
We
does.
had
it
kind of
does.
talked about that, yeah, but it was like, nobody knew that it existed, and it was like, well, then we probably should talk about that, because,
Thanks for bringing it back up.
yeah, there we go, anytime. I don't
Okay, it's
forget.
still
I
here.
saw a sign not too long ago, and I thought about that. Oh, yeah, that came up.
Well, Dawn is the new coordinator for it, I mean, but we do have a program. We can, it's on the,
There
put
we
it on the
go,
agenda.
there we go, we're gonna talk about that program.
Well, I'm really excited about talking about priority stuff. So there's obviously some previous priorities and, because this issue of raising the profile of the parks within the entire city structure, I think is like really critical to us accomplishing anything we want to accomplish. And, you know, we're really just an advocacy role here, you know, but I think we need to use that.
Right, and always remember, it's good to keep in contact with the council member who nominated you. Make sure y'all are connected.
Right.
I liked your comment about the San Angelo Central Park. I was like, was it like San Angelo Central High School? But it was like New York Central Park. Oh, wow, that's 100% spot on.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. It's like,
Yeah.
and if you go from upriver all the way down and connect the whole thing, it's amazing. And it crosses the river at least twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that picture you had up there earlier of all that stuff, that's,
Yeah.
I wrote an article on that about 8 years ago. Just the same idea.
Yes,
But I
Send
think
that
we're
out.
done with, I
Send
think
that
we're
out
done
in
with the
email.
agenda. What?
send that article out
Okay.
so we can read it all. Yeah. We obviously read it 8 years ago, but you can resend it.
Yeah, we can't look it up in the archive now unless you got you can't get to any news anymore.
Yeah. All right, what else, guys? I will entertain a motion to adjourn in a second.
I'll
So-
make a motion. Oh.
Second.
We had a second before the motion, but that counts, that counts. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All any opposed? All right, thanks, guys. October
We had everybody
3rd.
here. One member, we had everybody here. Thank y'all for coming and thank y'all for speaking. I don't like it when we don't have any discussion.